And he was there and he was praying. And I remember when the temple guards went to arrest him, I remember vividly how one of the temple guards took a sword. And they took a sword and was arresting Jesus. And one of Jesus' own people, one of his followers, took his sword out, something like this one, and cut off an ear. One of his followers. And what amazed me about it was this man Jesus reached out and took his ear and put it back up. When he pulled his hand away, it was like nothing ever happened. Now folks, I still don't know who this man was, but I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen somebody heal somebody that instantly. But they arrested this man. For what? I never really knew what they charged him with, but they arrested him. And they took him before Pilate. And then took him before Herod. And I don't know a whole lot about the trials, but the next thing I know, they took this man and they tied him to a post. And they took a whip. And they took this whip. And as he laid there, they continually beat him and beat him and beat him. It was a terrible sight. This man, it bled from his back, from his chest, from his arms, where this whip constantly beat and beat and beat him. I remember it just like it was yesterday. The look on his face every time they struck him with the whip. The pain, the anguish, the torture. I had to turn my head away. It was so terrible. And after they beat him with that whip, they wrapped a robe around him. And the robe stuck to those open wounds. And it was just so much pain and so much torture. They said this man was the king of the Jews. So some of my fellow Romans, we decided if he's a king, you didn't just lay them on his head. Pushed them down on his head. And these thorns were very, very, very sharp. Again, they dug into his flesh. They dug in, the blood began to pour off of his forehead, off of his nose, and down his cheeks. They gave him a wooden cross to carry. He carried it up that long hill. When he got to that hill, we laid him down. Laid him down on the cross. Actually, he sort of laid down, and then we asked him, and he rolled over on his own. He got on the cross. And then some of the guys took spikes like this. And as he laid there, we drove them deep into his hands and into his feet. And he just laid there. He yelled, he cried, but he laid there. He didn't struggle. I don't know why he didn't struggle. I don't know. But he didn't. Pilate had told us to fashion a sign that said, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. And he said to write it in Latin, in Greek, and in Hebrew. So we made the sign like this, and we put it on his cross, tacked it up. I know some of the folks, the high priest had said, don't you want us to say he said he was King of the Jews? For some reason, Pilate said no. He's the King of the Jews. So we put this up so everybody could know who this man was. We put the cross in the ground. He hung on the cross. I don't know how much time it was, but it was not very much. And a lot of things happened. I could hear him saying things from the cross. But I don't know exactly what he said. I was kind of off in the distance. But after a while, some strange things happened. I don't know. But in the middle of the daylight, everything got dark. There was a great earthquake. And this man, who they say was Jesus, who some say was the King of Kings, he said something, let out a gasp, and he bowed his head. He was gone. Now the tribune that was there at the time, he had one of the guards, just to make sure that he was gone. He had one of the guards. He didn't just lay them on his head, he pushed them down on his head. And these thorns were very, very, very sharp. Again, they dug into his flesh. They dug in, and the blood began to pour off of his forehead, off of his nose, and down his cheeks. They gave him a wooden cross to carry. He carried it up that long hill. When he got to that hill, we laid him down. Laid him down on the cross. Actually, he sort of laid down, and then we asked him, and he rolled over on his own. He got on the cross. And then some of the guys took spikes like this, and as he laid there, we drove them deep into his hands and into his feet. And he just laid there. He yelled, he cried, but he laid there. He didn't struggle. I don't know why he didn't struggle. I don't know. But he didn't. Pilate had told us to fashion a sign that said, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. And he said to write it in Latin, in Greek, and in Hebrew. So we made the sign like this, and we put it on his cross, tacked it up. I know some of the folks, the high priest had said, don't you want us to say he said he was King of the Jews? For some reason, Pilate said no. He's the King of the Jews. So we put this up so everybody could know who this man was. We put the cross in the ground. He hung on the cross. I don't know how much time it was, but it was not very much. And a lot of things happened. I could hear him saying things from the cross. But I don't know exactly what he said. I was kind of off in the distance. But after a while, some strange things happened. I don't know. But in the middle of the daylight, everything got dark. There was a great earthquake. And this man, who they say was Jesus, who some say was the King of Kings, he said something, let out a gasp, and he bowed his head. He was gone. Now the tribune that was there at the time, he had one of the guards, just to make sure that he was gone. He had one of the guards. And he took the spear, and when Jesus was hanging on the cross, the guard thrust it into his side. And when he thrust it into his side, blood and water came out. And I heard one of the guards say, he must be dead, because he didn't flinch, blood and water, we must have punctured his heart. And I got to thinking, we broke his heart. This man was dead. Joseph of Arimathea asked Pilate if he could have the body. Took the body. They wrapped it in cloth and they took it to the burial tomb. It was over. It was done. I don't know if this man was who he said he was. was done. Well, several of us were assigned the task of guarding this tomb. So we guarded that tomb day and night. And I remember the morning of the third day. For some reason, I kind of fell asleep. Nothing was going to happen. This man was dead. He was in the tomb. Nothing could ever happen. But I remember being woke up. A commotion. And I woke up and I looked around and that stone wasn't there. The stone was gone. And I was scared because I knew what was going to happen because they were going to blame me. They were going to blame us for what happened. But as I stood off to the side, I saw these ladies come and look into the tomb. And I could see they were excited. They were excited. Because he who was in that tomb was not there now. And as I stood off, kind of hidden a little bit, I remember seeing another figure. And this figure looked at those ladies. And it said, if I remember right, it said, "Why do you seek the living among the dead?" What they said is true. This man who they called Jesus, this man who they called King of the Jews, this man who told people that he would die for their sins, had died, but he was alive. He had risen. I'm not a Roman guard anymore. I believe in this man. I believe in this man called Jesus. I believe that he died for my sin. I believe that on that third day, a morning like this, he rose. As the sun was coming up, this man came out of the tomb. Amen. He rose again. And folks, this morning, as Don said a few minutes ago, we were there. Every one of us here was there. Not bodily, but we were there. We were there when they crucified my Lord. We were there when he rose from that tomb. Because today, Jesus is not in that tomb. Amen. The sword that the Romans used, the whip, the crown of thorns, the sign, the spear, those are all tools that man used to try to destroy what could not be destroyed. To try to take down what could not be taken down. To try to do away with something that they couldn't do away with, that is now alive and will be alive forever. Yes. You were there this morning. Some 2,000 years ago, you were there. But he's not in that tomb. As this sun, S-U-N, came up, that morning, the S-O-N came up. Out of that tomb, raised from the dead, lives now here in our hearts. And we will spend eternity with him. Amen.